L. Contours crossing a railroad laid to an even grade will be spaced at even intervals. And you'll see this on any man-made feature that is linear. And what's going to happen there is as you see your contours come, okay, what you're going to see is they'll probably take some jog and then they'll have a straight portion and then continue on, where that's my straight portion. The next one will do something like that. And this is where my railroad's going right here. Okay? So you'll see that railroad where we have altered the surface of the land. Okay? And I made sure I grabbed some maps today that had some highways and railroad tracks on them so we can see those. We'll come back to them in a minute. But you want to look for these little straight lines. You also see them on canals, stuff like that. They indicate that the surface of the earth has been altered. N, contour lines cannot run into the shore of a lake or other still body of water. Why can't they do that? What does water do? You said it basically all goes to the same level, right? It's liquid, base of gravity affects it, so it's all at the same elevation generally. Now it's not really. If you get a really big lake, okay, it will have some gradient to it, but we generally can't determine it. And look at a cup full of glass of water. Okay? You don't have part of that with the glass water up here and the other part down here, right? It's all at the same level. Okay? So therefore, since it's developed on the earth, it's all at the same elevation. Okay. Now, I've already talked about this one. Every fifth contour line is heavier than the rest. The line is broken at some convenient place and the number representing the elevation is inserted. Okay, so by that, let me just draw, if I'm doing a major contour line, it'll be very thick and somewhere on here I'll have the elevation mark. Now my minors that go through it will be thinner. And they won't be labeled. Okay, 3, 4, then I'm going to come back to another major, and this one might then say 4,400. Okay. So the only ones we label are the majors. On a some very low point, we use a spot elevation. Any questions on those terms we talked about? Okay, now I put 2 types of maps on some desks, and I'm thinking that you'll all go to those desks. So if you would kind of pair up here, and we're going to find some of these features and how we can use that to tell us how the earth is working on these maps. I gave you 2 maps. One that's in our local area, they're much flatter, and you have some of central Idaho, which are much steeper. You might want to get onto a desk that doesn't have a lot of books on it or something. We have some spares over here. But pair up.
I got mine.
I get my own.
Or Lisa, maybe you can just go jump in with somebody else too if you you can, sure. Might give you some more
I
examples.
just go over here.
Now, this also goes along with lesson 2. Remember, lesson 2, we went into all the topographical symbols that you will see on a map. And I also put a link on Google Classroom that had all of the topographical map symbols. We use color also. Okay. So we're going to look for some of that stuff. Okay, so the first thing, I want you to make sure you can see a V shape. And it will have a river in it. Okay. So kind of find some of those. Now look at the difference between the flat ones that have the Snake River and the mountainous ones that have spring streams. And look at the contour lines around it. And discuss those with the people you're sitting with.
They're all branching off. Okay, so we have this. This one too. I'm gonna go out here.
Yeah, on this map, you can tell that.
Oh, there,
That was just a little here. Why is?
All right, did everybody find a couple streams?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a couple questions. What color are these lines?
Blue.
blue.
Okay, they're blue. For the most part. Sometimes we use maps that aren't colored. Okay, so they're blue. Now, those of you that are in the flat areas and you have the Snake River on it, or a larger river, what kind of line are they using? Look at the bank.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, the line for the river. Now, you might want to look at your steep maps here, actually. That's kind of what I'm going to. Yes?
So, one of the river lines is solid and one of them's dotted.
Yep. Okay, so if it's solid, and if you look at your steep country maps, you're going to see it. Look at the map underneath that instead of that one. What does a solid streamline mean? What does a solid streamline, so you find the streamline, and if you're looking on that steep country, it's probably the best place you're going to see for them. What does a solid line mean?
Is that like the major part of the river?
Where they all meet?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Constant flow.
Means constant flow. Means the river is there all year long. Okay, if I have one that has got some dots in it, what do you think that one means? Yeah, it's an intermediate one. So it's probably there in our country, probably from what, April through June, July? Okay, so it's an intermediate stream. Notice that the V shape that occurs, especially on those steep ones. Look at the V shape on those contour lines that are right around those things. You see that sharp V?
Yeah. Like here. Yeah, like right there and then right here too. If you look at them, how these ones. It's weird. And that's just representing like the ditch or the.
That's the stream
That's the
bed.
stream.
That's the bottom of the valley. Where you get to, so if you get this V, that right there
I didn't know that.
is the bottom of that valley.
Okay.
Okay?
Hmm.
See if you can find this shape on your maps.
What shape?
This
Where's
one right here.
Waldo?
On which one is it supposed to be on?
It could be on either. In fact, the flat ones might have more of these than
There's a whole bunch of
the
them.
big ones. So you want to find some mountain meadow or flat chunk of ground. Not every map will have this on there. If somebody finds
I was
one,
gonna say.
okay, they have a bunch of them over here, so maybe you want to go over and look at this one. What does this shape represent?
This one, there's a road through it.
That's a tough place to build a road.
I know, but look, it has, well, it's not built road, it's a dotted line, so it's an ungraded road. Unimproved. Isn't that the line?
Okay, you guys are on Thousand Springs, right? Yeah.
10,000
So
springs.
that's why you have a
I
bunch
don't
of
know
those.
if it's like.
So that's 1,000 springs, that means it's a spring.
Yes. Okay. So this shape
That
is
was
a
easy.
We
spring.
don't have one.
It's where it exits the ground.
Does
If you want to
Hagerman
see
have-
one, there's a whole bunch of them on their maps.
That's not one. Hagerman have one? No. That's not.
Nope, that's not one. So look on these, probably on hillsides. No, I can't see, there's one right
Oh
there.
wow, that's tiny. Okay. Oh, okay. And what does that represent?
Represents a spring, or where water is coming out of the ground.
They have, they get their
okay.
water from a spring.
What's that? Okay.
Oops, sorry. I'm sorry. They were somewhere.
It's the name of it.
Yeah, whatever. Hot spring, the hot spring. Geothermal. Isn't that crazy?
Flat Top View. Yeah, this is a little airport that sits outside.
It's down here.
Yeah, I think so. Did you find a spring?
You follow.
No, that's not a spring.
You can seriously drink this one.
I think those are depressions. Spring's gonna be that little,
I don't
I
find
think of
one
them
on here.
as polywog shapes.
What they do better.
They would usually be on sheet or something. Go look at some of, like, the ones Modjed's got about the best ones.
Oh, there's one.
We're all.
There's one right here.
So this is where it all just comes out.
All right, any questions about rivers, the V shapes, water, how we can determine that? If I'm building a road, water is a source I want to stay away from, right?
So the water comes
Yeah.
out of the ground.
If I'm building in a town, I want water.
So where they intersect, say like the purple line and the blue line, one was a road and one was a water, they overlap each other.
Yep, so there's probably a bridge there, right?
Okay.
Yep, in fact, there is. There's a big bridge right there where you cross the Mlad River.
So this is the outline of all
Now, there
the-
should be a bridge symbol on there, on that road. And the scale of the map, they don't have it. A bridge has, if you looked in chapter 2, has those little wings on it for the abutments. That should be on
Huh.
for the size of that bridge. I've been over that bridge, it's very big.
Okay. If they're like tinier, do they put them on there or not really?
Yeah, well, if they did a pillar bridge, probably not.
No, that's where it's on.
All right, let's look for man-made features.
Okay.
Okay, and look at how the contour lines will indicate these man-made features. And so what you're looking for is a contour line that will generally have some road on it. Now, a solid road is an improved road, right? A dashed double line means an unimproved road, so a dirt or gravel. And what you're looking for here is these contour lines, and you'll see this straight area that generally goes perpendicular to the man-made feature. Railroad tracks, highways, roads. You're going to see all of that happen. Those really steep ones, ones up in central Idaho may not have any of these because there's no roads in some of that area.
So this is.
You have all the dashed ones. I don't know.
See this railroad?
The straight line.
Straight area right there.
Over here.
And then how this one's been straightened, where that soil.
That one is changed.
And even if you look at this one, notice how as soon as the contour line hits the road, it goes vertical straight across it.
I don't see one.
And you might get an indicator that there's some old roads that aren't even shown on here anymore. Like, see that kind of straight piece there? And that one, so they're probably using
Okay,
some old ways that somebody came through.
You found one?
I don't see any flat spots.
Well, we're just looking for a feature, so let's look at, and this, what's this guy right here?
Why is it bubble up?
Railroad Trail.
Why is it changed?
There.
You're here,
It
you're
should
here.
be right now. It's changing.
You're right here too?
Kind of hard to see.
I don't know.
Here, right there.
Curved surface.
Well, all of the dark ones have.
Because they're using just such a major road. They're
Well, actually, all of the
obscured
dark
and,
ones have.
Curved road.
super on it.
This one doesn't
Good, this one right
change. This
here.
one doesn't change.
Are we looking on the wrong one again?
Where's your microphone?
It should be on road.
Let's maybe look at a different one.
Okay.
Yeah, probably. Hold on. Don't make this high and dry.
They'll probably see it. Okay, on this railroad, I'm sure you'll be able to see it. They notice as this topo line comes over, right as it comes to the railroad bed, it turns and goes perpendicular to it. Then you come to this one, it goes perpendicular across it. Here comes in. Now this thing probably should be straight through there. Notice how it comes, and it goes jogs right across the tracks and then takes off. Those are all indicators of man-made stuff. Now, if it's a really old one, you wouldn't see this one, which can remove, the land would still be sitting that way. And so they're suspect areas, you don't have good soil there probably.
Okay, now what about the vacant lot?
Well, I'm not seeing one. I think it's probably this.
That's a major conflict.
I think that's the only one close enough to
That one's
it.
not because
This?
it's not
Yeah.
physical.
Is that cut?
Is that the secondary highway though?
Oh, yeah,
Mhm.
again, you're perpendicular, notice how it turns,
Curb
goes
surface.
perpendicular right across the road.
Yeah,
That's the only one I see kind of similar to that shape.
in here too,
Mhm.
obviously, so.
Yeah, and it's kind of easier to see on some of these.
Malala.
See if it makes sense.
I've never been to Malala.